Some time later, someone brought me broth, and having spewed it onto the floor, I felt well enough to get up and stagger on deck. It was half dark, but the stars were out, and to port there were lights twinkling on the French coast. I looked north towards England, but there was nothing to be seen but grey sea, and suddenly I thought, my God, what am I doing here? Where the deuce am I going? Who is this man Spring? Here I was, who only a couple of weeks before had been rolling down to Wiltshire like a lord with the intention of going into politics, and now I was shivering with seasickness on an ocean-going bark commanded by some kind of mad Oxford don. It was too much, and I found I was babbling to myself at the rail. It's always the way, of course. You're coasting along, and then the current grips you, and you're swept into events and places that you couldn't even have dreamed about. It seemed to have happened so quickly, but as I looked miserably back over the past fortnight, there wasn't that I could see anything I could have done that would have prevented what was now happening to me. I couldn't have resisted Morrison or refused Spring. I'd had to do what I was told, and here I was. I found myself blubbering as I gazed over the rail at the empty waste of sea. If only I hadn't got lusty after that little bitch Fanny and played cards with her and hit that swine Bryant. But what was the use? It was done, and I was going God knew where, and leaving Elspeth and my life of ease and drinking and guzzling and mounting women behind. But it was too bad, and I was full of self-pity and rage as I watched the water slipping past. Of course, if I'd been like Jack Merry or Dick Champion or any other of the plucky little prigs that Tom Brown and his cronies used to read about, setting off to seek my fortune on the bounding wave, I'd have brushed aside a manly tear and faced the future with the stout heart of youth, while old Bosun McHarty clapped me on the shoulder and held me enthralled with tales of the South Seas, and I would have gone to bed at last thinking of my mother and resolving to prove worthy of my resolute and Christian commander, Captain Freeman. God knows how many young idiots have gone to sea after being fed that kind of lying pap in their nursery books. Perhaps at 26 I was too old and hard-used, for instead of a manly tear I did another manly vomit, and in place of Bosun McHarty there came a rush of seamen tailing on a rope across the deck, hurling me aside with a cry of, "Stand from under, you damned farmer!" while from the dark above me my Christian commander bellowed at me to get below and not hinder work. So I went, and fell asleep thinking not of my mother, or of the credit I'd bring my family, but of the chance I'd missed in not rogering Fanny Lock that afternoon at Roundway Down. Aye, the vain regrets of youth.